Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan podcast where we bring you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. How you doing, Barry?
We're hanging in there, buddy. Lots going on in the sports world. Ooh, I got some stuff to talk about tonight. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, this year marks the 20th anniversary of Pat Tillman dying in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Okay. Now, this guy, he was in the prime of his life, and he was a smart guy too. He had a 3.85 GPA. He was a linebacker for ASU, and despite his size, he excelled at that position, and he helped his team get to the Rose Bowl. And in 97, he was voted Defensive Player of the Year and also ASU MVP. In 98, he was drafted by the Cardinals, and they moved him to safety. At one point in his career, he actually turned down a 5-year, $9 million offer from the Rams out of loyalty for the Cardinals. He just elected to stay with them. Okay. And 8 months after 9/11, he turned down a 3-year contract offer from the Cardinals, and he enlisted in the Army. Now, sadly, he was awarded the Silver Star, but it was under the guise that he was killed by enemy fire. But it was determined that he was killed by friendly fire during an ambush. So, and that fact still haunts his family and his platoon mates to this day. So, this guy, he had his life cut short, but it was just unfortunate, but, just sad. So.
Yeah, I got a lot of mixed feelings about that, but go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. Well, to this day, his mother is still trying to find answers.
Unfortunately, she will.
So. But anyway, on another football note, Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. He was picked by the Chargers in the 7th round, which his father wasn't too thrilled about. So, but he said he's going to work with him step by step on his workouts. He's going to be hands-on with him. So he's going to get him into shape. So, and he sees it as, Brendan sees it as a positive, getting to work with Justin Herbert. So, but Jerry's going to have that boy ready to play. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I don't know you want my opinion on that. But hey, Marvin Harris's son somehow figured it out to position himself the way he positioned himself. So I don't know if the kid didn't want to listen to his dad and wanted to do it on his own while in college. The secret sauce ultimately is you got a lot of number ones every year who never pan out.
Yeah.
Who pans out is who puts in the work. And there's got to be a lot of other things besides the work. If you listen to Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer, right? 7th round. You know how many 1s, 2s, and 3s, 4s, and 5s were picked ahead of him? Never made it to a Pro Bowl, never made it in the league, never, because they didn't want to pay the price. There's a whole lot of ones who at the end of camp are going to be home. or in another league. And it really comes down to the work. Who's willing to put in the work? And it's nice to get a draft, but I ask you this question. Can you tell me who the number one pick was the last 2 years? And let's choose an easy one, the quarterback. Can you tell me? I can't remember.
No, me
Right?
either.
So both of us who are avid fans can't even remember who the number one quarterback was picked over the last 2 drafts, which means what? They're probably behind somebody, or they're not playing in the NFL.
Well, speaking of putting in the work, what's going on in the WNBA?
Man, Joe, I got horse-tied headlocked today with somebody in the WNBA talking about Caitlin Clark. And, I saw some comments the other day. A lot of people seem to be trying to make this a racial thing. And I'm sure there's some racial undertones over it. But I think a lot of people forget that it's a business. It's ultimately a business. And, Caitlin is needed. All those girls are needed. Because it's probably, Joe, taken 30 years for women basketball to get to this place. Because neither Caitlin or these other girls ever did what Cheryl Miller did.
Right.
But the league wasn't matured. Right. And the other women, Swoops, and the other women who were balling out, but the timing and the opportunity, you know what I mean, to really and really kick in just really happened. Now the question on the table is, the WNBA going to fumble the ball? Because if they fumble the ball, they're going to mess with these girls' money. This is a great opportunity for these girls to finally young ladies to finally break through into $1 million contracts and so forth and so on. But if they don't leverage what happened the last 2 years in the NCAA, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. I mean, Asia Wilson, you couldn't ask more from Asia Wilson. And the fact that she didn't get a Nike shoe deal is ridiculous. But again,
I think she just did.
She just did, because a lot of people started to holler. How can you be this accomplished and not get a shoe deal? Here's this new kid on the block, gets a shoe deal. And see, to me, all that smells of not so much racial, but more money discrimination, which is not really putting the money, the marketing that's necessary to get these ladies the money. That's what that's really, not to say it's not there, but yeah. You ask, I got something to say about it, but I don't want to run away with what happened with the big three, and I'll tell you want to know. I'll explain it.
Okay, but anyway, well, just to piggyback on the WNBA, they're going to go north of the border, and Toronto's been awarded a franchise, and it's going to be owned by billionaire Larry Tannenbaum, and he's also part of an ownership group that owns the Maple Leafs and the Raptors. So, that's going to be interesting. And that's they're going to follow the team that's going to be in Golden State in 2025. They're coming in 2026. So, so that's so the WNBA is expanding.
Yeah, because they saw what happened south of the border. Come on, Joe. This is business. They saw what happened south of the border. They got a bunch of young women up in Canada, right? Who they're like, what? Huh? We can make this kind of money? Now, I'm trying to tell you, this could get very interesting, because if they figure out the sauce in Canada, where do you think all these players are going to go? Because Canada can say, hey, we'll pay you the money. And they got money in Canada. They got money.
Yeah.
Right? So now you can end up with a lot of these young ladies up north, because they're paying more money. They don't have to go overseas. They can go up north. And trust me, I'm sure there are people who brought that to the table. Man, we can get four or five of these young ladies up here, have about 6 teams up here, pay them more money than they make down in the U.S. and pack out stadiums. Watch. Mark my words, my friend. Mark my words. Watch.
Well, speaking of that, the NBA is going through another coaching shuffle. Now, after the Suns and Lakers made early exits in the first round, the Suns fired Frank Vogel and LeBron fired Darvin Ham. Yeah. So, it seems like there's a revolving door in Phoenix with Vogel following Monty Williams out the door. But, however, the Suns just signed Mike Budenholzer. So it's going to be next man up. And rumor has it that the Lakers had their sights on Jason Kidd, but he just signed a multi-year extension with the Mavericks. So now
Mark Cuban ain't letting him out of there.
That's right. And so JJ Redick and Ty Lue are the names that are coming up for the Lakers job.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And especially since LeBron's already worked with Lou. So.
Yeah, but he's on a podcast with JJ.
Yeah, so they're really looking at him. And this is crazy. Now, Glenn Davis, he just got sentenced to 40 months in prison for defrauding the league's health care benefits plan. Him along with 18 other former NBA players. They were just Terrence Williams and Ken Dooling are involved in this also. These guys, they were filing false medical claims with the NBA health and benefit welfare plan. And so Williams was supposedly the ringleader of all of this. So he got 10 years, So
now what's interesting about this on three different levels. One, does this action jeopardize their pension? One.
Good question.
Right. Two, how do you think you're going to defraud the WNBA when they know what you make, how much you made, how long you played, how you manage your finances, and then it was an investigation. And when they had everybody gathered up, they knocked on everybody's door. And I just I just really scratched my head because, again, it comes back to 18 of you guys couldn't get together and say, you know what? Why don't we take $500,000 and buy up a bunch of apartment buildings to create passive income? So when our playing days are over, we know we can do X. You can't figure out how to do that, but you somehow think you're smart enough to defraud the NBA, who has billions of dollars to investigate, and you just assume they didn't have any checks and balances. And this is the delusion it's really, really sad. Because listen to this point, and don't laugh too hard. They caught Big Baby because he was putting in claims for $126,000 of dental work.
Yep.
So you got to say to yourself, when it comes across your desk, does he got gold, silver, and platinum in his mouth? What is that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like you really got to do like this hard CSI investigation. You just got somebody to go talk to him and go like, well, what did you have done? And this is what's really sad. And as a gentleman I interviewed on my podcast before, is he said, Barry, unfortunately getting in the league, you're young, you're in your 20s, you think you're Superman, and you quickly find and you do dumb stuff, and you don't do the things you need to do, and then it ends and you realize you didn't do smart things, just basic things like just save your money until you're out of the league, and then figure out what you're going to do. You just end up doing a whole bunch of stuff. And he was telling me guys would buy vehicles and trick them out, and buy DJ equipment and all these things. And not to say that there shouldn't be some of that money that should be just blown to get it out of your system, but there should also be just a process of, hey, let me stock most of this away. And so that at the end of the day, like the guy said to me, if I would have just if most of these guys would just come with a bottom line. Come on, Barry, he said to me. He said, most of us guys did not grow up in a 6-bedroom, 6-bath house. Imagine, Barry, if we just had bought a house, right? Paid it off in our playing days, right? So we knew we had a base, got a decent car, put it in the garage so that when we retire, you know what I'm saying? And just
Yeah.
saved our money and just did that. Most of us would be fine.
Yeah.
Most of us would be fine. But you just come in thinking you're going to be there forever, and you're not. And the money comes and the seasons go, and all of a sudden, God forbid, an injury, God forbid, you just don't fit with a team's mix anymore. God forbid, you just didn't get picked up. I mean, the lesson he said is, he looked at me and said, think about Isaiah Thomas and when he was playing for Boston. I mean, this guy was playing out of his mind. It took him 3-4 years to get back in the league. Why? You see what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting scenario that we find ourselves in. And I don't personally think coaching is really going on in the NBA.
No.
I think management is going on, and it's showing. There's no there's no coaching, there's no development. It's just management, and it's terrible. It really is.
So what's your take on the playoffs so far?
With the NBA, for the Knicks, those guys got to look in the mirror and say to themselves, hey, I get paid to play this game, and we can't just sit back and let Jalen Brunson do everything. That's just, else he's going to wear out or break down, right?
Well, that's happening already.
Yeah, it's got to happen. You can't play 48 minutes every game and go back-to-back series and not get any rest. And it's just kind of like sad to see, like, and there again goes back to the former NBA player I was talking about. There's this illusion that you're young and will get another opportunity. And that's not reality. This is your opportunity right now. And you better make the most of it, because you can ask Hall of Famers and great players who thought they were going to get back and never got back.
Yeah.
And never got back. You have to seize your moment right now. And unfortunately, I don't know if the Knicks are gonna, these guys. I'm really challenged on a lot of levels. I had a huge game, one game out of the championship for my AAU team, and I guess we just grew up in a different time. I mean, I had one guy who hadn't come all season, came the previous game, was mad because he didn't get more playing time, and said, I won't be back the rest of the season. I had another 3 players who just didn't show up to last Saturday's game. So we were shorthanded. And I'm like scratching my head going, you're one game out of the championship game. What's going on that you don't show up? What is that? I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm like sitting here going, and they're looking at me like, well, coach, this was a great moral victory. This is the farthest we've come. I looked at them like, I don't believe in moral victories. I come from an era you win or you lose.
That's it.
There are no moral victories.
That's it.
And especially, they said, well, I said, I don't have a problem with losing if I left it all out on the floor. And you were just better than me today. You were just better than me today. You were just better than me today, and I got to go back. But when I have the opportunity to win, and you don't do the things to win, nah, that's not a moral victory. That you got to get some cojones. That's what you got to get. And I said, you don't call your teammates and go, we're one game at a championship. let's go get it. But anyway, let me stop.
Circle
Keep
back
going.
to Big D for a minute, because Zeke is coming back to Big D.
I keep hearing that, but is he there
Yeah,
or is he not
yeah,
there? Or?
yeah, and
Okay.
he's going to be the veteran in a running back room full of second-year players and rookies. Okay,
Interesting.
so Mike McCarthy's plan is the running back by committee approach. That's what he plans on doing.
He's got no choice. Yeah, he's got no
So
choice.
and well, the powers that be decided that they didn't want to draft a running back. They decided that they needed offensive linemen, instead, which is true. But at this point, I'm always cautiously optimistic with the Cowboys, but at this point, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Joe, I'm sorry, Joe. It's so funny, Joe. We've had this conversation so many times. I really don't care.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point of I don't really take them seriously until they get to the second round of playoffs, and if they don't, okay.
Yeah. Well, somebody who does know what they're doing is Josh Harris. Now, he decided that he's going to retire Darrell Green's number. So
is Josh Harris the new owner of the Commanders?
Yes. And there seems to be a trend with that as far as multi-ownership, because he owns the Commanders, the Sixers, and the Devils.
Oh yeah, I mean, once you're an owner, you spread it around. They're all assets.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
they're all assets. So financially, it makes sense.
Yeah, so Green will be joining Sammy Baugh, Bobby Mitchell, Sonny Jurgensen, and Sean Taylor, with their numbers being retired.
Nice.
Now he played all 20 seasons with the Redskins,
which is crazy. I don't.
In this day and age, and he won 2 Super Bowls. And I was actually there when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, because Artie got inducted. Yeah, Artie got inducted the same day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I met Artie's son. I got to meet Darrell Green's son. Very nice kids, very good kids. And it was an experience. It was an experience.
Amazing. Boy, you and all baseball Hall of Fame, football Hall of Fame. Boy, you be meeting everybody. Man.
Hey. I'm a man of the world. What can I say?
Yeah, that you are.
But it was like I was saying, though, the owners, like the owner of the Utah Jazz, he just bought the Phoenix Coyotes.
Yeah.
So he's moving them to Utah.
Yep.
So it's a trend that I see going on with all of these owners now.
You know where they get that trend from? Soccer. That's how soccer is run in Europe and in the world. They own multiple teams, and usually, often, what you end up having is sometimes you have one or two of your major advertisers who under the table become part in the ownership. Yeah, so you kind of lock in your sponsorship.
Right.
Think about it. It's a sweet deal, right? So, I'm a major food whatever, right? And so, what better way to leverage my product by becoming part of a sports franchise and get a sweeter advertising deal, sponsorship deal on the uniform? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just makes sense. If I'm a phone company, Sonatel or whatever, so now I'm part ownership in this particular part of the league, this league team. So I'm going to get the best rates, and I'm going to make money off my competitors. It's a sweet. So yeah, that's what's going on.
You would expand more on the leverage.
The leverage is really about. It's really kind of like I'll put it in this context. Imagine you own Campbell Soup, Hershey's chocolate, right? Well, let me reverse that. So you want to know the leverage why an owner would buy multiple teams? It's pretty simple. It's you end up multiplying your advertising dollars because you are able to multiply your fan base, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm able to multiply my merch. I'm able to multiply my concessions. Because if I've got 3 different teams, I don't have to do 3 different concessions contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I get a discount. Right.
Hmm.
Because I can say I own the Coyotes, I own the Jazz, you see what I'm saying? So that,
Right.
so if you're the concession guys and you're getting a piece of all 3 as opposed to 1, you're gonna give me a better rate, right?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just becomes a multiplier. So as an owner, okay, what else can I own? Okay, I can own this arena. All right, how many people? How many? Blah blah blah. Blah. I can own this ice hockey team. Okay, I got part ownership in that. So I can end up with 4, 5, 6 different sports franchises, and then use advertising dollars and concessions and merch as a multiple of 10. So the money is going to get so ridiculous. Watch. And that's what happens because there's just so much money. What are you going to do?
That's why they're billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the game. And what ends up happening is once you start buying, assets are handled or taxed differently than W-2 wage earners. So just by having an asset, I don't have the tax bite. So literally, like Warren Buffett said a couple of years ago about his $100,000 a year secretary pays more in taxes than he does. Because Berkshire Hathaway and all the things that he owns are what? They're an asset recognized by the tax code as a living entity. So he only manages it. He doesn't own it. He manages it. That's how he gets away with it. So he's not getting taxed personally. So that's the game of money, my friend.
Yes, it is.
And that's how they're able to buy multiple. So now I got the basketball team. I leverage it into a hockey team. I leverage that into an arena football team. You see what I'm saying? I leverage that into a soccer team. Yeah. And I'm able to pay and get all kind of talent and draw more people in, and you see what I'm saying? So it's unbelievable.
Well, that really is our lesson in the business of sports.
I love to talk that money. Let's talk about it so people can understand what's really going on.
Well, we'll have to finish it another time.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, fan base, we've got some more people coming. I hope you enjoyed what we did for our 50th anniversary, episode anniversary with NFL agent Marquez Brayboy. He will be back for one more treat, and we've got some more people coming on. I've got a couple of ladies in the sports world, in the business world coming on, who's going to share some of their insights and perspectives of being ladies in sports and business. And so we just, as we always say on Smarterfan podcast, stay in the game.
That's
See you next week.
All right. Good day.
Have a good one. Be well.
Smarterfan.